blogspot, and then I used Google AdWords to get some traffic. And what I found was, yes, a lot of people clicked on the ad, but nobody wanted to transact. Number one, maybe the website isn't very nice, right? It's quite ugly. Number two, I felt that perhaps there's just too many fields to enter before you can get a quotation. So what we did was, I dialed down. I removed a couple of non-essential elements and made it only 3 elements, i.e., what sort of lorry you want from back to back. And then straight away you can get a quotation. And sure enough, using this methodology, we actually got 1 customer. And it's an Iranian customer that until now I remember. Right? Her name is Elin Safari. In fact, we named our conference room in honor of her name. So a simplified quotation process, but after we got the first customer, we became a bit more confident that this is something that Mulipati and has legs. So that's why we took a bit of a gamble. We hired a freelancer and paid him about 6,000 ringgit to build the first version of the website. It looks like this, right? Why website and why not app? Because app is more expensive, way more expensive. So that's why we decided on the website first. It looks like this. It says there, Malaysia's #1 lorry booking website. I was disclaiming lah. I don't know. We were a pioneer definitely. This one is marketing. So how it looks like pretty much is like this. So you enter in your details, and then straight away there will be at least 5 quotations provided to you with the name of the company, the profile, price, and then some rating. So the cool thing was when we started, only 2 vendors or providers wanted to work with us. One is a friend of friend. Another one is another company that already has an online presence, right? So kita kan promise five words. So the other 3 is actually not true. So it was just there, that you see this CASS Transport Movers. That's a fake company. But it's a fake it till you make it strategy, because I cannot wait until I get 5, then only straight away I say launch, right? So I gotta straight away launch it. Where's my slides? Alright. So using this method, we actually got at least 1 booking a day. Right? So we pivoted to an Uber model, I think around 2015. Why? Uber model means we are the one that set the price, the number. I found out that every time I go to meet these vendors, right, they will say, hey, I just want to be 10 ringgit cheaper than the cheapest guy, right? So it's not very healthy. It's not a very healthy thing to do. And basically every time I meet new guys, they just want to be cheaper than the next guy to get all the business, essentially. So what we did was, we pivoted to an Uber model. We decided the price based on some formula. And then I was the one in the background calling, hey bang, ada job dari Shah Alam ke PJ, can you take it? Okay. Right? So this was before the app was created, before the driver app was created. So it was done manually. And now, this is our website. Right? You guys know, so there's a lot of story behind this, how we got him to become our ambassador. A lot of hard work. But if I can just direct your attention to that background, the person on the right, that's me. So to save costs, we actually use our own team members for the photo shoot. And on the left is actually our iOS programmer, the lady. So yeah, right now we have a website, and also we have both apps, Android and iOS. But currently, I would say most of the bookings come from the website. The apps are more for on-demand, mostly 4x4 kind of use case and emergency use case. So how many more minutes do I have, Alicia? 2 minutes? Okay, maybe I'll just share, since we have time, how the lorry got its first 100 customers. So first things first, and Google AdWords has been our friend since 2014 until now. Even right now Google loves us because we spend so much money on their platform. We are one of their top ranked partners. So Google AdWords were one of the ways we got our first traffic, first 100 customers. But it was amplified through a Medium post that I created. So it was created around after 3 months of launching. I just wrote a blog called makingthelorry.com, a story of idea validation through lean startup methodologies. Right? And I shared it on my social media, I shared it on the Lorry social media. And what happened was some entrepreneurs picked it up and then they start sharing, right? And then a local news portal in Malay, Amans.my, picked it up. Right? Amans.my picked it up. And then from there, Cosmo picked it up, a local daily, right? So thanks to Amans and Cosmo, it changed two things. Number one, customers trusted us more. Right? Customers trusted us more because if they saw Cosmo over there, okay lah, this is not a fly-by-night company, something that we can trust. Secondly, the suppliers, the vendors, they trusted us more, right? And in fact, a lot of the leads actually came through the Cosmo article, right? So after reading Cosmo, they actually called in and said, hey, I want to join as a partner as well. So thanks to all this, plus great customer service, right? That's always been our creed, right? Until now, we want to deliver the best customer service. And I think the first, let's say, 8 months, it's Nadir Shafiq, me. I was the one doing customer service and operations. And there's a funny story, which is, my name, Nadir, is actually a very uncommon, right? So a lot of customers, they like to mishear my name. So sometimes I get Nazir, Nabil, Wazir, Kadir, right? So I get a bit frustrated. So that's why I actually changed my name on, when I speak to customers as Adam. So very simple, Adam. And when I speak to, let's say, Masale or Chinese customers, say Adam, English-speaking customers, Adam. Okay. So this thing I actually still using until now. In fact, when I order drinks at Starbucks, I'm malas gila nak beritahu my own name because they will confirm screw it up. How to say Adam, even though that's not my name. Even until now, all of our customer service have a sort of a name that can be used in English, can also be applicable in Malay. So we have Daniel, we have Sam, we have Aaron, right? Although their names are totally different, like Syed Muhammad Shafiq. One is Fazil, right? So, but we have these names, customer service names. So I think my time is running out. So if you guys want to ask me a little bit of question on tips and mistakes, you can ask me during Q&A. Thanks so much.
So now you know where you can look for if you want to move the next round, right? And then I have some more questions for you. Here we have the display for the poll. Okay, just go back to the same website. There's one interesting question. As you know that, I know how many of you from Malaysia? Oh, almost. And they asked also our foreign guests. In Malaysia, actually, we are very patient. Okay? We have our traffic jam. We also is willing to queue and wait for our food. Okay, so in here, I want you to put in how long are you willing to wait for your drink? So sometimes you're not too sure which restaurant is good. You can just judge by looking at the queue. That's the first sign. And you can see people queuing up there
Stand there.
all day. And in Malaysia, it means that it must be good. As you can see, we are quite patient. A lot of people are willing to wait less than 30 minutes. Okay, there's another question about waiting as well, which is our next question. Is that if you go to shopping center in Malaysia, and if you need to look for a parking space, it's interesting that people is willing to go round and round the parking. And there's one time that I went to Mid Valley during and actually, virtually, I went into the car park for 45 minutes, and I still don't get my parking. And then after that, I have to pay, and then I get out. In here, how long are you willing to wait for a parking space? 15 to 20 minutes. sometimes you are hopeful that you will get a parking space. Oh, yeah, we have some very patient audience over here that is willing to look for one more than 45 minutes. So if you imagine that if you can reserve a parking space while you're at home, and when you arrive, your parking is there available for you, would you like to use such applications? Yes? How many is willing to do that? Some show of hands. Yeah. And actually, our next panelist, Warren, is going to share with us how this is possible. Let's welcome him.
Hi, good morning everyone. Thanks for having me here today. How do I do slides? Okay, cool. So I actually didn't prepare a slide which says who I am, like what Nadia did. So let me quickly present myself. Since it's obligatory to tell you what my age is, I'm actually 28 this year. I started this company about 3 years ago, back in 2014. Getting to this particular point was that I studied finance and economics in Australia, and then after that I worked in banking as well, in Citibank, also doing a management program in banking. And then after that I kind of decided that, you know, corporate life not quite for me. I wanted to start my own thing. But I wasn't so ready yet to go take the plunge into starting my own business yet. So I actually joined a non-profit organization called Social Enterprise Alliance. That was an organization that was dealing with social enterprises and like helping build social enterprises. And that gave me a really good exposure into the space. And eventually after that, I left Social Enterprise Alliance and I started Park Easy together with a bunch of friends. So that's my quick journey. I don't want to focus too much on myself. I want to talk more about the company itself, as well as some mistakes I've made and lessons that we've learned from there. So, next. All right, quick introduction. Question number 1. Do you actually like parking? No? Okay. Now, I've never found somebody who actually says that parking is the most exciting time of them going to a shopping mall. Actually, for some of you here, you may even recognize this particular shopping mall. 1U, exactly. This is we will get price later. No, this is one Utama, and definitely, you know, one of the worst things about going to a shopping mall is the fact that you have to go through parking. Just now that poll that was run earlier was quite interesting because I've asked that question before, and some people spend up to an hour and a half. That's one of the answers I've gotten before in terms of how long they spend looking for parking. So Park Easy's promise is very simple. 2 promises, okay? Number 1, we guarantee you a car park. You know, I was talking to an older relative the other day, and I was talking about how it was before the internet. And he said before the internet, when he had to go to the UK to study, he wasn't sure whether he would be able to find a place to stay once he got there. Because you can call up a bunch of numbers and everything, but you're not sure whether there's actually a system in place to ensure that you have a space there. So what you do is you actually go on the plane, you land there, and then you open up a phone book, and then you start walking around London, going to different hotels and asking, hey, do you have any place to stay, right? And I thought that was such a bizarre idea. I can't imagine actually leaving my house, or let alone going to another country, without actually knowing that I'm going to be able to have some to parking as well. Just like how you get this yellow barrier there. And what happens is that after you make a booking, you can actually show up, press a button, and take it. What happened was that the mall was saying to us, look, we're really happy with the response. The replies have been very good. In fact, what happened was that within a few months, we became booked out between the hours of 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So the first location that I actually looked at was a VIP location. So this particular location was outside of their mall, but right at the drop-off point. And the problem with locations like this is that you have something like 4 bays here. How are you going to actually manage that particular system? If you assign a security guard to look after that area, he's only going to be looking after 4 car park bays. And if you want to put a ticketing system on that, can't you put a barrier, a boom gate on every single barrier, every single car park spot? So that's where we came in. And I think within the first month of operations, we were charging 20 ringgit per booking. We actually made ourselves 632 ringgit, right? And then the third location we opened was right next to the supermarket. So up here, is actually the Tesco supermarket of the shopping mall. And over here, which you can't see in the slide again, is actually a whole row of car parks. It's about 15 car park bays. And it's very interesting. This one we opened very recently. We only opened it on August 30th, one day before Merdeka. And the next day, on Merdeka Day itself, already fully booked, right? And then on top of that, we also opened up some locations in Jalan Telawi. So if you go around Bangsa now, you probably see a lot of our hardware there. A lot of the hardware is actually just privately operated by the shop blocks. But we do have some bays which are actually open to the public to rent, to book when the shops close. In terms of usage, we got really good responses both on Apple and Play Store. I'm very happy to say that we are both like 4-point-something stars and above on both of them, with 300 plus reviews or so. And the pickup from January was really crazy. So as I mentioned, we started out with 17 bays, and in a few months we already became fully booked. And then suddenly we increased the number of bays from 17 and plus another 15, so we are actually at 36 plus the VIP. And you can see that this is just up to October. This was 1,400 bookings for only 36 car park bays. So actually one of the things that's very interesting is that people always say to me, hey, if you implement a booking system, won't you find a situation whereby this car park bay is left empty for a very long period of time? Actually, that's not true. What we find is that the turnover rate for our car park bays is actually higher than the normal car park bays. Because people who are booking their car park know that they want to come in, they want to spend money, and they want to leave. They're not going to do this thing whereby, let's say I'm going to Mid Valley, I got a lunch meeting at 12 o'clock, so I'm going to come in at 10 o'clock and just like laze around until 12 o'clock when I actually have a real lunch meeting. So this is our experience. And then upcoming locations, I'm happy to say, is we're going to do the Genting Premium Outlets. KLIA 2, there's this area which is right next to the departure hall where we are planning to have this option whereby you can have, we're going to charge you in 15-minute blocks rather than 1-hour block. That way you can actually quickly park your car, drop off your relative, and then you can get back and you don't have to pay a full hour's pricing. And then also IKEA, we're working together with them in Damansara to do 21 EV charging bays. So that's actually very interesting. In Malaysia, you cannot charge electricity if you're not the government, right? So when it comes to EV charging for electric vehicles, you cannot charge the customer for charging their car. So what we do to make sure that we can pay off the tariff rates is that we don't charge you for EV. Charging your car is free, but you need to pay to park in the car park. So that's what we're working with IKEA together on. And yeah, I wanted to go through that quickly because what I was told in preparing for this was actually to kind of talk more towards those who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, right? Those who have not begun their journey yet, but are maybe considering that particular journey. So this is where I'm going to spend my time now. How much time do I have? 10 minutes, okay. Cool. Okay, now I chill out a bit. Okay. So let's go back to 2014. So back in 2014, actually what happened was that we were founded as part of a hackathon. So a hackathon is where a bunch of people get together and they have a competition to come up with a new concept, right? And in that particular competition, we actually won that competition, being able to have advanced information of car park availability. So most car parks nowadays have these red green light systems. We call those parking guidance systems or PGS. And I don't know about you, but my biggest frustration is that they will tell me that, hey, 8 car park bays, turn right. And I follow that sign. And then another sign, 8 car park bays, turn left. And I keep following. And I'm like, where are these 8 car park bays? They like don't really exist, right? And so we thought that maybe a good idea would be to take that information and just put it onto a mobile app. So you can actually have a bird's eye view of the car park, and you will actually be able to see where your car is parked, so on and so forth. There's a big problem with this idea. Can anyone guess? Exactly. Everyone goes to the same car park. And so actually, knowing that there is a car park available at a particular location is not very valuable until you can actually secure that particular car park. So what we then came up with was that we actually reserved car park bays. Oh, this, I don't know why the pictures are missing. But we came up with a system to reserve car park bays. But this time, we decided that what we would do is we would have LED signs. So I'm not sure if you can see from this photo, but on top of the car park base, there's actually an LED sign which displays your license plate. So let's say you make a booking for the car park, your license plate is ABC1234, then ABC1234 will appear in front of, on top of the car park bay, and that car park bay is reserved for you. What's the problem? You park anyway, exactly. So, actually, you'd be surprised. It's not everybody who does this. I would say in about 9 out of 10 people will look at a reserve sign and they won't actually park there. But it's always that one fella. That one fella who, you know, just parks, doesn't care. You walk up to him and you say, "Oh, sir, actually this place is reserved for someone else." It's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you." And he just walks into the mall, right? And so it's always that one guy that actually messes up the system, which kind of like goes against our whole idea. So we wanted the idea that we wanted everyone to be able to valet their car, right? So really cheap valet. And to have a cheap valet, we needed the system to be automated. And because we actually needed to have on-ground supervision to make sure people didn't violate it, we went back to square one. Why I need to use hardware? I could just hire a guy who just stands in the car park, right? And then the cost would be like a valet all over again. So then after that, we decided, you know, I don't want to deal with hardware anymore. I want to come up with a new idea. And this is whereby we came up with the idea of Uber for parking, right? So instead of using hardware, whereby we get the car parks from the shopping mall and then we rent it out, we allow people to book, we did another system. We had two types of people. We called number one, parkers, okay? And then on the other side, we have another group of people called leavers. So parkers are people who are looking for parking. And leavers are people who are leaving that particular shopping mall. So you can say, okay, I'm going to Mid Valley now. I want parking within 10 minutes. Is there anybody else who is leaving within these 10 minutes? And what will happen is that the app will detect these two particular people and match them together. So I call it Uber for parking because it's like matching drivers together with riders, right? But a lot of people say this is like Tinder. and it's funny because actually on Lao Yard, there was this guy who said, "Oh, I use this app, I match. Oh, the person I matched with is quite cute." And then, yeah, so fortunately, I don't think there was anybody who actually found their romance through our app, but people did actually find their parking. But, oh, sorry, don't jump so far ahead. Oh. Okay, but what do you guys think is the problem? This one is probably a bit more difficult. The problem with this is 20% conversion rate is like a super high conversion rate. But still, it is less than 1, right? So, unless you have 10 people park, and then 11 people then become a leaver, you will find that your base size will just continue shrinking. And that's what we found. Unless we actually pumped in a lot of marketing money, we were unable to maintain the size of the base, right? So that's where finally we came up with this idea. So going back to being in control of our car park base, renting from the shopping mall, and this time we don't have the problem of people coming to park in the parking bay because we actually have our own hardware that physically restricts people from parking there. There's actually an alarm system when you hit it and everything. So yeah, that was our journey in getting to this point. So that is a journey of about, I would say, two years, because this is our 3rd year, and it was only until the beginning of this year that we were on this particular model operating it fully and showing the traction that I showed you earlier. And there are a couple of lessons that, I mean, there are hundreds of lessons, but the particular lessons which I particularly picked for those of you who are contemplating the journey of going through startup, I would like to share these particular truths. Okay, I don't want to start with this one. I'll start with lesson 2. First lesson, which is lesson 2, is to love the process, not the glory. And I think that this has become especially prevalent in the tech startup industry, right? I think a long time ago, the equivalent of a sexy job was becoming a pilot or an air stewardess. The idea that you're no longer restricted to where you are, you can travel the world and you get paid a lot of money. But just like what it's like to be a pilot, there are a lot of things that you don't see behind the scenes. Pilots go through a lot of stress, flying all the time. Very difficult for them to see their kids if they're raising a family. And I mean, it's grueling to be responsible for so many people and just staring at the screen for a very long period of time, right? So when you go into startup and you think maybe I want to do startup because I want to be like Mark Zuckerberg or I want to be like Sergey Brin or Elon Musk, right? I don't think you should go based on that reason. You do not want to go into a journey which is going to be difficult simply because you want to get the fame out of it. Because that fame, if you ever do reach it, is only going to be 10% or maybe 5% of your journey. 99%, well, my math is so bad, 95% of the time, you're going to spend it doing the stuff which nobody wants to do, right? I always say that Chief Executive Officer, CEO, actually doesn't stand for executive, it's Chief Everything Officer, right? There are days when I come into my office, it's so dirty, I'm the one who's sweeping the floor, cleaning it up, right? Because we try to save money on cleaners. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to enjoy the process of what you want to do, rather than be so glued up to the success at the end of the road. Okay. Then the second lesson I want to teach is actually that the end is not the end. I like to use the word rerouting as a good example. How many people here today use Waze or Google Maps to get here? Right? A lot of people. Now, how many people here have actually used Waze, made a wrong turn, and had to be rerouted? Right? I think everybody today, yeah. Same here actually today, me too. And I think that's just how the journey of life is, right? You will have to make decisions at some point in time. You will have to make a turn. And sometimes you end up making the wrong turn. But what's important is that you should not see that wrong turn as the end of your journey. And I find that a lot of times when I talk to maybe starting entrepreneurs or so, and they're telling me that, oh, I did this idea, and like there's some people who like to use my app, but some people I still don't see the traction yet and everything. And I ask them, maybe it's a good idea to go back to the drawing board and try something else. And they tell me, oh, I don't want to do that. Because that means I'm starting all over from square one. Now, I think that particular mindset, the mindset that you're starting over, is only if you look at things from a very particular point in time. I like one thing that Nadia said earlier about his experience in Localize. The fact that his failure in Localize was not the end of Nadia's journey, right? Nadia is sitting here in front of us today. And I think if anything, Localize and that particular failure was only part of the stepping stone of the entire process of everything. So if you're doing something and it's not working out, don't have this commitment bias that I already invested so much and it's not right to turn around. If you see a cliff in front of you, it's still better to turn back and take another road instead of driving off the cliff. Right? The third thing I want to say is, and I find this to be very, very useful because as an entrepreneur in a startup, you don't have a lot of money. So you try your best to find a way around. And the way I like to think about it is the resourcefulness. I always say resourcefulness and determination are the only two characteristics you need in order to overcome any obstacle. And the way I like to think of it is that startup is like going into the ocean. You want to find land, but in this ocean there's no GPS, there's no map, so you don't know where land is. So what you got to do is you just have to jump in there with whatever you have, and regardless of its waves or storms, you need to be able to figure out a way to deal with it. And my advice to anyone who wants to start up a new company is that if there is an obstacle coming your way, don't think of it as an obstacle that you cannot overcome. Think of it as yourself as like water. If a rock is in front of you and you are water, water doesn't just stop at the rock. Water will just find a way around it. And I think that that has been one of the most useful things for me in terms of continuing on the journey. So that's me. That's the journey of Park ED as well as the lessons that I've learned. And I hope to talk to you more in the Q&A section. Thank you so much.
And then, and of course, I'm sure a lot of you out there who is doing your own business, we would like to know how many of you actually has your own physical stores? Would you like to answer that? Or you sell your products and services online, or you have both channels as well? How do you sell your product and services now? We have many starting to sell physical stores. Okay, and we also have both online. So with that, actually, online is a good way to expand your market indeed. But when how do you market your products? Okay, this is a multiple choice, so you can select one. Wow, we have Facebook, the most. And also other online media. Quite a numbers on Google AdWords as well. And I guess traditional means there are still some of them. Facebook is the most popular one, I guess, and also other online media. I guess physical media is getting less, but I guess phone is still actually quite a common media. So I'm not too sure what is your results with that. We'd like to hear from you when we have some, if we have time for some Q&A sessions. And I have an expert here today, Eddie, who is going to share with us on how you can do your marketing online.
Right, thank you very much. Some interesting figures up there. My name is Tiku Eddie. This works. And I'm here to talk about my journey and my company, Purple Click, which is a digital marketing agency. Now, I will not reveal my age, but I'm very happy that SME Core thinks that I'm young and in demand. Yeah, so there are lots of entrepreneurs here. So I hope my story will kind of give you some kind of inspiration on the journey that you're taking and inspire you to continue that journey. So a little bit about myself and my background. So my career started off in Asia Pacific Video Lab, which people know as APV. It's a post-production company. It's actually Malaysia's first post-production company. And post-production means we do a lot of editing, special effects, color grading, mostly for TV commercials, but also for movies. So when I was there, we were post-producing a Malaysian movie called Puteri Gunung Ledang, which some of you might know. I was part of the marketing team then, so we went to a lot of trips in India, to Thailand, to Indonesia, to basically market the machines and market all the awards that we had garnered. But we met a lot of advertising agencies out there. So to me, when I met these agencies, it was a kind of natural step for my career because I felt I had a lot more in common with the advertising agencies than actually the post-production guys. So that's where I joined Grey. So Grey is an international company. It's an advertising company. It started off in New York about 100 years ago, actually. So they're celebrating the 100th anniversary this year. It was a huge company, 300 people. So this picture is one of the company trips in Bali that we went to. 300 people, but it felt like a family. And that was really good to get creative juices going, work flowing, and things like that. I handled a lot of accounts, ranging from automobiles, insurance, banking, property, to name a few. And what we did was mostly traditional advertising, meaning a lot of TV commercials, a lot of radio ads, a lot of press ads. But I did have a thought of wanting to do my own business, and I always aimed for that. So after I left Grey, I joined the Nottingham University Business School here in Malaysia, and the focus was an MBA in entrepreneurship. So I remember the first lecture that I had, and the lecturer comes and says, you know, 1 out of 10 businesses get off the ground, yeah, 1 out of 10. And out of that handful of one, only 1 out of 10 businesses become a success. I was going to leave the lecture hall, I tell you. I was like, why am I here? But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did it because, you know, that's what entrepreneurs go through, yeah? It's all about risk-taking. As an entrepreneur, you have to be able to take that risk. So after I left my MBA, I actually started 4 businesses. Yeah, 4 businesses. I won't go through all the details because it'll just take too long. 2 businesses kind of got off the ground. Got off the ground means we had some sales, but ultimately failed because I think a lot of people were not interested in the service or were not sure what the services were about. So those 2 failed. Another 2 didn't even get it off. They didn't take off the ground, yeah? So I was kind of stuck of not knowing what I wanted to do until my friend and now business partner comes to me and goes, hey man, you gotta do digital. That's the future, that's where the opportunity is. He doesn't actually sound like that, so I'm making his voice up. And he said, you know, you've got this advertising background and I'm in digital now, so let's do something together. So I said, fine. So for a few months we were working together. We did small digital campaigns. We did some mobile campaigns. And I thought, wow, you know, this is the future. You know, from a traditional background, it was so hard to be convert, but it was great. So we joined up, and now we have a company called MocoWorks.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So when I'm talking about the digital and the online platforms, what was the opportunity that we saw, and what was the opportunity that my friend was saying? So I kind of like these pictures. Have you all heard what a zennial is? Zennial. It's not a disease or anything. Yeah. A zennial is actually someone who's born between Generation X and a millennial. So I'm kind of showing you my age right now. So I'm a zennial, and basically I grew up in an age of my childhood was an analog age, but my adulthood was a digital age. So we kind of bridged that gap between the analog and the digital conversion from that to digital. So we saw the analog phasing out, and we saw digital coming in. So for us, it was an interesting time. So we kind of saw the best of both worlds. So now, this image here of a desk full of, you know, an old IBM lab computer, you know, this shouldn't exist anymore. Basically, everything you have there is either on the phone, on your laptop, or on your tablet. By right, your desk should be empty. But in actual fact, you don't even have to be in your desk anymore. You can work anywhere, you know? I think some people are here on your phone now probably working and not listening to me. No, so the ability now to be mobile is so important here. Malaysia is a mobile-first country, second only to Thailand. And when I say mobile-first, it means that there are more people using smartphones than there are people using PCs in our country. When you look at UK, US and Germany, they are still PC first. So the opportunity of of businesses here to tackle that mobile market is amazing. What's the other opportunity? So as a human race for thousands of years, we've been out to search, to discover, to always look for things, and we still do it now. I mean, I don't have to tell you anything about Google, but I'll tell you this, right? There's about 3.5 billion searches per day. That translates to about 2 to 3 trillion searches per year. Now that is a huge amount of people online looking for things, searching for things, trying to find out information. Yeah? And then with the advent of the digital age, you have the new marketing age, the social media, the I want to follow this person because he's cool, and that person, has to talk about a brand, and you want to buy that brand because that person has it. Social media is such a powerful marketing tool now. It's something that companies really need to look into, especially bigger brands. And social media is so powerful that even consumers, if they're not happy with the service, they're not happy with the restaurant, they can actually, cause a problem to close it down. I'll give you a story. Recently, my brother and I, we were at a restaurant, and actually a rat ran past his leg. And he got so furious with the manager, and the manager said, "No, I didn't see anything. What are you talking about?" And my brother said, "I will go on Facebook and Twitter and tell everyone what just happened." We got a free meal that day. Yeah? And my brother's not even on Twitter, by the way. So it was a digital race for me. When I got all this info from my friend and seeing the new digital space, it really opened up my eyes. And for everyone, I really say, you have to be part of that digital race. It's so important. Yeah. So those are the opportunities we were looking at. But we wanted to grow as well. We wanted our company, which is called MobileWorks, to grow. There's only a 3-man team then. That wasn't enough for us to grow because actually we were a bit late to come into the digital space. There were other agencies doing this. So we decided to look for the right partner. And that's where we went to PurpleClick. Now PurpleClick is actually a Singapore company. And what we looked at was, we tried to look at them as if we were going to invest in their company. So, what were their credentials? What had they done? Were they reputable and stuff? And they really were. So when we met PurpleClick, they were already a 10-year-old company then. They had done over 11,000 campaigns in 41 different languages. They were already premier partners with Google, with Yahoo, and they had strategic partnerships with Facebook. All those stuff that we really wanted to do, they had. They won over 31 awards already. They had 7 awards as Digital Marketing Agency of the Year in Singapore. That's 7 awards, including this year as well. They were the Search Agency of the Year this year, 2017. They had government clients, they had multinationals, they had SMEs. They were just the perfect fit for us, and we couldn't be happier that we joined them. So, I have a habit of taking selfies and Wi-Fi's just because I want to learn about the platforms that I'm using. So I post a lot up on Instagram and Facebook. So this picture is an important picture for me because this is a 3-core PurpleClick Malaysian team. Only 3 of us. We were in Singapore. I remember we were going in a taxi then. We wanted to meet the PurpleClick team. We wanted to talk about the Malaysian office. And that day we were introduced to the Google rep to say that this is PurpleClick Malaysia, and these are the guys who are running it. So that was about a year ago. That was more than a year ago. That was in June 2016. So where am I now? So now I'm co-founder and business director of PurpleClick Malaysia, and my job really is to find new sales pipelines for the sales guys. 2 of my sales guys are here. There's Lordson and Russell. So I'm trying to find new sales pipelines and new industries to tackle, whether it be through my contacts, from my past contacts, through conferences like this, or even through family contacts and things like that. But what I also bring to the table is the old school, traditional advertising thoughts and creative ideas. So that really helped with our team when they come up with a problem. Well, we have to do a video for this client, and I've never done it before. Well, I said, well, I have. And I give that kind of experience to the team. So where are we now? So this is the PurpleClick Malaysia team. There's 15 of us now. We're a full-fledged digital agency. We have a sales team. We have an account management team. We have digital implementers. We have finance team. Yeah. So this is a picture for one of the birthdays that we had in office. But what does PurpleClick do? So as I said, digital marketing agency. So we are now a Google preferred partner. A Google Premier Partner means that we have direct access to Google. We can have meetings in their office. We have assigned Google account manager to us, and we are open in the sense that Google actually looks at our numbers. So we're very transparent with them. We also have partnered up with Facebook and Instagram, very important for digital marketing. And right now, we've just signed a strategic partnership with LinkedIn, which is very interesting, and that's that picture that was at the signing kind of ceremony that we had. And what we do for our clients is we look at their objectives. So what does the client want to do? What is the objective? Is it to gain downloads? Is it to gain more eyeballs? And we look at these platforms, and we look at what is the best platform or platforms that can give you the best conversions online. So that's very important, because I know that a lot of startups or a lot of people try to do their own AdWords and things like that, but we're saying, give it to us. We won't just look at AdWords, we'll look at multiple platforms. We'll let you do and run the business that you are professional in while we handle the marketing side. So it frees up your time, we give proper reports, and it's very transparent because of our connection with Google. But having said this, we still try to look for new avenues of growth. And it was very important for us to see other strategic partners. So now comes the Group. So the Group actually now includes a PR company. PurpleClick is now part of the Group, PurpleClick Malaysia. Have a PR company, and with that PR company, we've actually started an events agency. So can you imagine, from digital to kind of going back to traditional PR and traditional to activation or events. But we realized that we back up each other, and that's a beautiful thing. This partnership, for example, PR will go in for a pitch. The client will say, well, we need a digital element, for the business that we're doing. PR will say, well, we got PurpleClick, they're our partners, we come in. Same with events. Oh, we need to drive traffic to the event that we're doing. We have a partner for you, PurpleClick. So PurpleClick comes in, makes sure that there's enough traffic going through the events. So this is a picture taken from our first inter-bowling competition. Suffice it to say, I will not leave my day job, and I will not go back to bowling. So where are we going? What does the company want to do? So as an Group, we want to make sure that all three core companies basically grow and be successful. We want to hire new people. But we want to make sure that we have and corner all the major touch points. So this is a purchase cycle, or it could even be a customer journey cycle. But now we have the ability to cover all these touch points. We can give our clients a 360 holistic marketing plan or strategy. So while we are still working in our own divisions, and we do, so PurpleClick has their own clients as well, we are now able to get bigger clients because they're looking for the whole 360 marketing experience. So these are just some of the clients that we work with. As I mentioned, the Singapore team has worked with a lot of government clients, and they've transferred a lot of knowledge to us through that, a lot of multinationals and things like that. For Malaysia, because of our regional connections, and because of our connections now with a PR agency and events company, we are able to translate ideas, share marketing ideas, campaign ideas, which actually ends up benefiting the client. So that's very important for us, because even the shape of our office, we are all located on the first floor, right next door to each other, less than a 10-second walk access to all the other teams and all the other different companies. So thank you very much. I hope I didn't take up too much time. I hope you found my journey somewhat inspiring. And for those who are thinking of jumping into the digital arena, I say go for it, And for those who want to really branch out, to start their own business, to to be an entrepreneur as they did, because you won't know until you take the risk. Now, before I finish, I'm going to take out my camera, because this is going to my webpage, and I'd like to everyone just at least put your hands up, if you can. And then we'll take one of you guys later. Is that okay, everyone? Hands up, please! Woo! And we'll take one. Got it. All right, thank you very much.
I think we've learned a lot from this new business. It's a totally new business model, as I would say. We have about 20 minutes, so I would like to ask a few questions first, and then we will have some questions open to the floor. If you have anything that you want to ask, you might want to write down so that you can have a chance to ask them. So firstly, I think it's a totally new, challenging business model, and I'd like all of you to share in terms of, because where you are in terms of competitions, because you have the traditional competitors, and you also have some new upcoming competitors as well. And the target market is so different. It's a new idea, and whereby there is no reference in terms of customers, whether they will accept your ideas and they will buy your services. How do you overcome that challenge?
Let's go. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. Okay, first things first, in terms of logistics, it's not something that is grey area, like Uber and Grab, where they actually created a completely new segment that is away from taxis, right? So we see the existing players, the existing lorry providers as partners. We don't want to compete with them, right? Ideally, if let's say, maybe in Monday to Sunday, let's just say they're filled up 70% of the time. We want to be that 30%, right? We want to be that 30%. And we want to enable all this through the sharing economy principle, right? So in terms of current, existing incumbent players, we don't want to compete with them. In fact, we actually have large public listed companies that are actually part of our network. The likes of Nam, Yinsen, integrated logistics, they are all part of our network. In terms of other platforms, yes, there is competition. In Malaysia, we do have a few. In Singapore, we have large competitors like Lalamove and GoGoVan. Lalamove recently just raised $100 million, right? GoGoVan just merged with a large Chinese player called Uber. So, but even after we plan to go regionally, in each of the market that we want to expand into, we want to find a unique selling proposition. We want to find kelainan, right? So that's one of the advice that I would like to give, especially aspiring entrepreneurs. Try to find which segment or which battles you can win. Because these large companies, even though they have a lot of money, they can't fight all the battles, right? So choose one battle. So for us, we actually choose one segment of the market and then just deep dive into it, right? And then slowly, after you have conquered that area, and then slowly you can go into other markets. Like another example I give is, if you sell nasi lemak, just focus on nasi lemak first. Don't sell bihun and kway right? Bihun and kway later, right? Dominate nasi lemak, and then after you have a lot of loyal customers, loyal users, then go into bihun and kway. That's
yeah. Hello. Yeah. For parking, there are other parking apps. I think the ones that people may know is like Jom Parking. And there's also there's also Park 8, which also they do. But we don't see them as competitors because even though they are also parking, they're very different stuff. So for example, Jom Parking is about paying your DBKL street parking fees, whereas we don't even care about that. We care about parking inside shopping mall. Whereas Park It is more of like if you if you want to rent a season car park in KL area and then you rent it from somebody who is an expat living in an apartment there and doesn't use his car park. So that one is more towards season rental. So we're very, very different in that sense. The true competitor that I see for Park Easy has been and always seems to be traditional parking. So, touch and go parking. Oh no, we don't see that as a competitor because we also accept touch and go. Anyway, so what we see is that a lot of people are kind of familiar with parking the way that they have all this while. And the biggest way that we find is successful in combating that particular belief, getting them to actually make the shift, is number one, we try to make the friction less. So for the first time you use our app, you can download it now, you get 10 credits for free, which is equivalent to 10 ringgit, which it at least allows you to try for the first 2 times for free, right? The second thing that we do to combat is that we really focus on our customer service and our ratings, because we find that the best way for somebody to want to try something new is if their friends tell them that this service is great, right? And so we focus a lot on our customer ratings as well as feedback on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. And so far that has played very well. We currently don't spend much on digital ads yet. But
spend much. Really don't.
but we get most of our new customers actually coming from referrals. We see that being the highest because every time you refer a friend, you get 5 credits. We have one guy who's got 1,000 credits from people. So so that's how we combat our competitors, by just being great in terms of customer service.
Well, I think for the digital marketing side, there are quite a few competitors. And I think, but not everyone, for example, has the premier Google Partner badge that we have. So that's a strong selling point. Number 2 really is the people that we have. So Singapore, a 10-year company, they've got really good SOPs, lockdown and things like that. Philippines, we have a Philippines office, I mentioned it just now. They've been running for about 4 or 5 years. So we've got a lot of knowledge transfer from these people, and it really helps when you're getting a campaign going and people see, or our customers see, the feedback that we give, the professionalism that we have. So the reason why, as well, we wanted to join a partner is to get up to that stage very quick. It was why we looked at Singapore. So that was pretty important. And besides that, Singapore is supporting us fully. So just how the people that we have and the things coming up and the knowledge transfer that we have, I think helps.
Thank you. And I think I have a cue card here. And for those, sorry that you are not have time to have some Q&A, but I think the panelists will be around. If you have any specific questions, you can look for them after this. And last questions before we end this session, would like to ask each one of you that for all the entrepreneurs down here, we want to have one line of advice. Okay, as you are young and in demand, we're going to use Twitter style. Twitter is not more than yeah. So just put a tweet on what is your advice for all the entrepreneurs down here in terms of new business and new digital transformation. Yeah.
Okay, sure. My tweet would be: validate your idea before spending a single ringgit.
That's a good one.
For me, I kind of mentioned it, but it's basically that my belief is that resourcefulness and determination will allow you to overcome. Oh, and if this is our last time to speak, I just want to say that if you know any people who are parking and they want to improve their parking experience, please do contact me.
For me, is just do it. just do it because once you start, that's when everything falls into place. That's when you get your validations going, you get your trials going, It really is just taking that first step. It's the scariest thing as an entrepreneur to do, I think, is just to take that first step. And then after that, things will fall into place. You will fail at certain areas, you will succeed in certain areas, but you'll learn. But it's taking that first step, really, for me.
So thank you everybody for this session. I hope it is enjoyable and you learn something and then you can do that. With that, we'll end the session.
Well, thank you very much. Please remain on stage for the presentation of token of appreciation. I'd like to invite Puan Nazli Jafar, Chief Operating Officer of SMIDEX Malaysia, be on stage to present token of appreciation to our panelists and of course our moderator as well. Very interesting subject and a very interesting topic. I'm sure if you have any more questions, you can always meet up with our panelists. We'll be here to share ideas and just to share your thoughts with our panelists. Right, the first token of appreciation for Mr. Nadir Ashafiq, co-founder of the Lorry. Round of applause for Mr. Nadir Adam Ali Ahmad, I don't know whatever his name that he goes by with today. And of course, next to Mr. Warren Chan, Chief Executive Officer of Park Easy. And Yang Mulia Tunku Nasron Adil Tunku Muzaffar, Business Director, Purple Click Media Malaysia. And finally to the moderator, Ms. Alicia Heng, President of Gorgeous Geeks. You did an awesome job in the first session of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, that wraps up the first session of the day. We have about 10 minutes for our coffee break because we need to start the following session at about 10:45. So we don't have much time, so let's go for a very quick coffee break and then do come back before 10:45 so that we can start the following session at 10:45. It is a fireplace chat featuring two ministers as our panelists, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Muhammad, Minister of International Trade and Industry, and Yang Berhormat KJ Khairi Jamaluddin, Minister of Youth and Sports, talking about the future of talent touchstones in reshaping our youth, coming up in about 10 minutes time. So let's go for a quick, very quick and a very short coffee break and then do come back before 10:45. Thank you very much.
Aku perlu panggil lagi semua dari dah. Lagi laju orang.
Masak dulu.
Business you are running. No goal is too high. No challenge is too tough. With CIMB. Introducing CIMB Biz 123, the platform for your business needs. Featuring fast and easy tools, complete solutions, and one-stop support. CIMB Biz 123. Take your business further. No matter what business you are running, no matter which industry, no goal is too high, no challenge is too tough. With CIMB. Introducing CIMB Biz 123, the platform for your business needs. Featuring fast and easy tools, complete solutions, and one-stop support. CIMB Biz 123. Take your business further. No matter what business you are running, no matter in which industry, no goal is too high, no challenge is too tough. With CIMB. Introducing CIMB Biz 123, the platform for your business needs. Featuring fast and easy tools, complete solutions, and one-stop support. CIMB Biz 123.